Today's practice and scrimmage, how'd it go for your offense?
Some better production than scrimmage one, and I think a lot of it came down to guys making some big plays. You know, we had some of those opportunities in the first scrimmage and didn't come up with the ball or didn't make the throw or didn't get the protection, and I thought we executed much better today. There's still a ton of work to be had, but it was excellent as far as just guys making some plays. You saw Emo and D. Grimm and some of those guys making some big snags, Rodney Wright, making some plays that we hadn't made yet, so it was good to see.
Last time I had talked to you, you were a little concerned about the receiver production. How good was it to see some of those guys step up?
Big is really big. So seeing those guys being able to step into that role and embrace it and know that it was a game type rep that you wanted to see what some of those guys could do as you're rolling towards the later half of spring and kind of see where your depth's going to be and who are the guys that are going to be able to help you in the fall. It was excellent.
Got to ask you about the quarterbacks. What did you see from them today?
I saw Jorge make some really nice throws. That's 2 practices in a row. He did some really good things. I thought that I think Jorge's just got to work on his consistency. I think that he can make almost any throw on the field, and he's got some definite playmaking ability, as you saw on the keep down in the other end zone for a touchdown. And I think that he really has worked on that consistency the last couple of practices, stepped up in that regard.
I know you've been a coordinator before, but how do you feel like you've evolved over these few weeks of spring, play calling and working with this offense in particular?
Some of it's communication with, the other coaches, just kind of ironing out who's talking to who's doing what. So some of those little semantic things have been good to, get clicked out. And having a guy like Coach Tedford around obviously always helps that. He's been through the ringer a million times, so he does a good job just pointing out, the things that, hey, you need to have your heads up on this and be looking for this pressure, or et cetera. So those are always helpful deals, and even just personnel substitutions and things like that. That's why these scrimmages are so valuable, because you get so few shots at that before you start keeping score, and so that's been a good thing.
Did I see right? You have a first and second team O-line now fully?
We had 10 guys out there for 2 straight practices, so yeah, we're pretty much big time now.
You mentioned your first interview about the coordinator position, about the tight ends being utilized quite a bit. I talked to Jared today. He said there's a lot of 2 and 3 tight end packages. Just what's been the evolution of incorporating the tight ends throughout spring?
It was really good to see. Juan made a couple of nice plays, Raymond, and those guys be able to step up, not just Jared and Cam. So those guys, all 4 of them, have now really started to fill a role and expand on that. And it's a competitive room. I think that's a really, really good thing for this football program. So seeing that, and I think the guys see, one guy make a catch or a block, and he wants to step up and make it the next time. So I'd say maybe as competitive a room as anywhere on the team. So those guys have answered the bell, and really, guys like Cam Sutton, really fancy catching the ball and things like that. But seeing Cam's progression, learning how to practice harder and doing some of those things, finishing plays, has been good to see. And Juan and Raymond, how far they've come in 11 practices as far as learning the offense has been impressive. And it's a lot. I mean, tight ends are obviously really involved in the run game and formation shifting and motioning and pass concepts. It's a tough position, and they've really taken that on.
This overall kind of feeling of how the offense is coming along with so many players stepping into those seniors roles last year?
We're getting there. I hate to give you a generic answer, but there's a lot of answers to be had yet. Some of the things you really need to answer are what can you do with each personnel group? So who are the guys that you're looking for out of different sets? And we're getting some more of those answers. And today was a step in the right direction to be able to see some of that from our receiver group particularly. We've kind of expanded the roles of the tight ends. So we've seen that earlier in spring. But being able to see what the receivers can do in that regard and step up, I mean, obviously you could argue the offensive line, as far as a production standpoint, is one of the biggest replacements to make. But when you look at a guy like Jameer Jordan and Keyshawn, losing 2 guys like that, that's a massive amount of yardage and catches and experience and savvy. I mean, those are tough guys to replace. So I think that's been a really big point of emphasis this entire spring.
Awesome.